You should be in. If you want full screen like everybody else, or so everybody can.
All right, everyone, welcome to the 187th District Court. Today is Wednesday. Let's keep it a Wednesday. Let's not try to turn it into a Monday. These are the rules of the 187th District Court. You're in the courtroom. You are to behave as though you are physically in the courtroom. Whatever you could not do if you were physically in the courtroom, you cannot do on this Zoom screen. If you behave inappropriately on the Zoom screen, your Zoom privileges will be revoked. You will be required to appear in the 187th District Court, and your Wednesday is going to become a Monday because, as you can tell, it's raining outside. So you will have to get a Lyft, an Uber, ride the Via bus. If you get the Via bus, I guarantee you're going to have to ask somebody for change. If you drive downtown, you're going to find a lot of constructions, closed roads, one ways. And if you're lucky enough to find parking space, you're going to find that parking downtown has become very expensive. So what does this mean? You are not to be cooking dinner. If you're at work, you need to tell your supervisor, you need to take a break. You need to find a place that's stationary. You are not to be laying in bed. You're not to be doing laundry. If you do any of these things, there will be no explanations expected. You will be required to appear in the 187th District Court, which is located at 300 De La Rosa, 4th floor. To all the inmates, you are not allowed to use the chat box. You're not allowed to use the internet. You are not allowed to use Facebook. If you do any of these things, you will be sent back. As you know, they are shorthanded at the jail. So the time you come back, it may be 30 days from now, it may be 60 days from now. To everyone, this is not The Bachelor. This is not The Bachelorette. You are not allowed to use this Zoom to pick up dates. If you want to pick up a date, you need to do that on your own time. And I know you probably asked yourself, well, why would she tell us this? Surely these are instructions that no one needs to know. It's because this has happened. And everyone needs to be fully dressed on the Zoom screen. That means no shirts off. If you do that, you're going to have to come down court. I don't care if you're out of state, out of county, out of country. I'm going to open breakout rooms. When I open breakout rooms, it's going to invite everyone to go to a breakout room. Do not, I repeat, do not go to a breakout room unless I specifically call you by name and assign you to a breakout room. To all the defendants and those who are accused, your attorney is probably going to want to go to a breakout room and speak with the state before they speak to you. So please do not raise your hand asking if you should be in a breakout room because your attorney will request that of me. To all attorneys, if you have the ability to add to your name the name of your client and whether or not it's criminal trial division or family violence, that will be helpful. That will make things move along quickly. Attorneys, no matter how small the agreement, if you have an agreement, you need to put it in the chat box to Norma Ferguson. She's the court coordinator. She will be listed on screen as Ferguson coordinator. If your client is on bond, she will need your client's email address. I'm going to call the names of attorneys only, defendants, and those accused. If you do not hear your attorney's name, it is because they were required to appear in person in another court, or either they're on Zoom in another court. Just be patient. Your attorney will show up. So everybody, let's make this a great Wednesday. Put some patience in your pocket, share it with others who may need it. Attorneys, I'm going to call your name. This is the order in which you'll appear. If you see you're low on the list and you want to Zoom to another courtroom, you're more than welcome to do so. But if your name is called while you're Zooming in another courtroom, you will go to the end of the list. And attorneys, once you've completed your conversation in the breakout room and you want the court's attention, If you could just use the reaction button to raise your hand, that will help me see you. If your screen is dark, then I will assume that you're Zooming in another courtroom and not available, so I'll just skip over you. Matthew Allen, Anthony Zamora, Ignacio Barreto, Daniel De La Garza, Natasha Torres, Rolando Romas, Carlos Martinez, Kirk Sherman, Joel Perez, Eric Hernandez, Sylvia Cavazos, Megan Enriquez, Kelly McGinnis. Is there any attorney's name that I have not called?
Good morning, Your Honor. Haley Pease for Grace Betancourt.
Okay.
My name was not called this morning.
All right, thank you. Any other attorney? All right. Matthew Allen, thank you for changing your name. And to all the attorneys, just so you know, the prosecutors are listed as co-hosts. They have the ability to move out throughout the breakout rooms. Please be patient. Think of those breakout rooms as going to the doctor's office. When you go to the doctor's office and the nurse calls you to the back, you're not seeing the doctor right away. They're just checking your weight and your blood pressure. If you leave the breakout room to tell me that you haven't had an attorney in there, the nature of physics and the law of nature, I guarantee you, when you come out, I'm going to see a prosecutor skip right over your room and go to the next person. So Matthew Allen, I'm going to assign you to breakout room number 3.
Thank you, Judge. Actually, if I could just get into breakout room with my client, Noah Nellum. We're here on a sentencing, so I can go over his PSI with him, please.
All right, and do you have the PSI?
I do.
All right, Noah Nellum, I need you to go to breakout room number 3 with your attorney, please. And let me make sure he went to 3. Yes, he's there.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony Zamora.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Who do you have?
I have Kadir Gunner. So any prosecutor in the criminal trial division.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 4.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Ignacio Barreto.
Good morning, Your Honor. I need a family violence prosecutor.
All right, thank you for changing your name. I appreciate that. I'll send you to number 5.
Thank you.
Daniel De La Garza, thank you for changing your name. And you even requested Elena Altus. I appreciate that.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. I'm going to send you to number 6.
Thank you.
Judge, this is Joel Perez. There's multiple defendants on this case. Can you also send me to that breakout room?
Okay. And who are the other attorney who would go there, Joel?
Torres and Bobby Gebbia.
Okay, Natasha Torres.
Yes.
Okay, Bobby Gebbia is not on the screen now. So Joel?
Yes, Your
I'll
Honor.
send you to number 6.
Okay, thank you.
Natasha Torres, I'll send you to 6. All right. And Elena, your co-host, you can go. Do you know how to go or no?
Yes, I can go. I won't close all the rooms today, I promise.
Do not do that. Otherwise, your co-host privileges will be revoked.
So you're probably safer doing that anyway.
All right. I just sent you to number 6.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Rolando Ramos, thank you for changing your name.
Morning, Judge. Can I confer with Tom briefly?
All right. Let me put on your Zoom name that Tom.
I apologize for not putting his name on there.
Oh, that's okay. That means you only get an A instead of an A+.
Noted.
Okay, I'll send you to number 7.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Carlos Martinez, is that the attorney or no? Carlos Martinez. I'm assuming not. All right, Kirk Sherman, who do you have?
I'm present. Oscar Pacheco, Your Honor.
Is it criminal trial division or family violence?
Family violence.
I'll send you to number 8.
Thank you.
And Richard, I'll make you a co-host. Eric Hernandez.
Good morning, Your Honor. I represent Leonard McGarity. I need to speak to a family violence prosecutor.
All right, thank you for changing your name. I'll send you to number 9.
Thank you.
Sylvia Cavazos, thank you for changing your name. I'll send you to 10.
Thank you, Judge.
Megan Enriquez, thank you for changing your name. I'll send you to 11.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning.
Good morning. Kelly McGinnis, thank you for changing your name. I'll send you to 12.
Judge, actually, I think I need to see the PSI if there is one on my client.
All right, could you put in the chat box to Rebecca Reyes your email address, please?
Yes,
And if you'll put that before you go to 12, would you like your client in 12 with you?
if he's here, yes.
Okay. Is your client in custody or on bond?
So he was on bond, Judge, and then when we got off of the Zoom the last time, he had a Comal County warrant he was going to go take care of. So I'm a little nervous that maybe that's where he's at.
All right, we'll, as soon as Ms. Ferguson, there's a big accident on the freeway. As soon as she zooms in, we'll find out where your client is.
Okay, thank you.
Which one, Judge? 35?
I'm sorry. Oh, well, it's bad when you say which one.
Oh, I know.
I don't know, but hopefully everybody is okay. Haley Peace, thank you for changing your name. I'll send you to, let me see, lucky breakout room number 13. And trust me, that is a lucky breakout room number.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Judge, this is Thomas Lane. I'm Mrs. Pease's, I guess she works for my firm. We're handling this case together. Could you put me in that room as well?
Okay, sure. All right, Matt Stohansky.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, who do you have?
Ralph Patagoni.
Criminal trial division or family violence?
Criminal trial.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 14.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Alfonso Cabanas.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Who do you have?
I have Mr. John Pacina on an MTR with criminal trial judge.
Just one second. All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 15.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Rebecca, is McBride on probation?
Yes, he's on probation. It was for a compliance hearing for the mental health, misdemeanor mental health. I still haven't received word on that.
Oh, no word on whether or not they're accepting him?
Correct.
Okay.
It was an SR that I sent to you this morning.
Well, are they able to do a mental health court evaluation in the jail or no?
I had submitted one, but I don't know if I've tried reaching out to the CLO in that courtroom and haven't heard anything.
All right, let me, I'm gonna email. They gave you one, Mr. McBride?
I went on the 26th of this month.
Do you know who you saw?
It was Some lady, I don't know.
All right, we're gonna try, just be patient with me, Mr. McBride. We're gonna try to find out what's going on with that, okay? Rebecca, I'm gonna send an email to Michelle. I guess it would be Michelle Starr, maybe?
I think so. I'm not too familiar with who the contact is. That's why I was emailing the CLO.
All right, if you could, and he says that, and let the CLO know that he says he's already seen someone.
I think you can hit enter if you can't, if you have problems entering it.
All right, anyone back from the breakout room?
Judge Tom is back. Can you put Wendy Short Covey into breakout room 7 with her lawyer, please?
All right, Ms. Covey, if you go to number 7, please. All right, and Rochelle Acevedo, who do you have?
Good morning, Judge. I have Dominic James Hernandez. He's in custody. If I could have a breakout room with him.
Is it criminal trial division or family violence?
Family violence.
Okay, let me see if he's on the screen yet. He hasn't been brought down. The jail is shorthanded, so they bring out, it's staggered. Do you want to speak to a prosecutor before you speak to him?
I have an offer that I was just going to relay to him.
All right, just give us a moment. We'll see what the ETA is on him.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Matt Stohansky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. You're back.
There we go. I'm back.
Yes.
I've conferred with Mr. Sanders. I think we're going to ask this to be put on the trial docket. And I have got Mr. Patagonia on the phone. I'll have him zoom in now.
Yes, he needs to zoom in.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point, but. But that's not, I don't believe that's a lesser. I don't think there is a lesser, right?
You on?
Judge, I just sent you a chat.
All right, thank you.
Okay, can you zoom in for just a minute?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Daniel De La Garza, Natasha Torres, and Joel Perez.
Yes, Your Honor, we're back from the breakout room. My client actually has an agreement and we're just waiting for paperwork to be able to plead. So I will, in the chat box, I'll chat Norma his email address and we'll just kind of go from there.
All right, just give us a moment on your chat to Norma because she is stuck in traffic because there was an accident.
Okay.
So just give me a moment on that. Joel Perez.
Your Honor, as of today, I believe Natasha was going to ask for more time because she wasn't available the last time she was in federal court, but I'll let her speak for herself.
Okay, so what about your client? Joel, who's your client?
Well, my client is Vanessa Garza, Your Honor.
All right, what is happening with Vanessa Garza?
Well, as of today, Your Honor, she's rejecting the plea offer. However, I believe Natasha's going to ask for more time. If you grant her more time, I'd like more time myself, Judge.
And your client is Javier Martinez?
No, Your Honor, my client is
No,
Vanessa
I mean
Oh,
Natasha.
yeah,
Yeah, that's okay.
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes, my client is Mr. Martinez, who is present on the Zoom. I apologize. I was not available for the last Zoom hearing. I had a federal trial. I believe the date was August 13th because that's the day I was in trial on a Friday. I was not aware, and it could be at my own fault, that there was a plea bargain deadline. My client, I have discussed the offer with him. He does not make a decision at this time. The reason why is he's in a tight spot if due to his potential immigration consequences that I think this case will bring.
All right, but has the immigration attorney spoken with him?
Yes, we have had a meeting. I have a Padilla letter. We have discussed it. I just think that is why, subject to the court's approval, I'd be asking for a new plea bargain deadline if there was already one.
All right. Do both parties have all the discovery?
Yes, Your Honor. I can't speak for Mr. Bettis, but I do.
I do, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Let me see. State, do you have any objection to an extension of 2 weeks for the plea deadline date?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
All right, so I'm going to give you both a 2-week extension. There will be no further extensions of deadlines. Where is Carlos Martinez?
He is on, and I apologize, he will need I can interpret, but he's a Spanish speaker.
No, that is why. Okay, I've seen him on Zoom.
He's been hanging out.
All right, and where is Vanessa Garza?
She's on the Zoom, Your Honor.
All right. Just one moment. I need a 2-week reset, please.
I didn't know we had court today, man. Yeah. Just hold on.
All right. Plea deadline date will either be October 12th or October 13th. Is there availability issue on either of those days?
Potentially, Your Honor. October 11th, if that is possible. I know it's kind of sooner. It's just that on October 12th, I will be, Judge Moses in Del Rio has in-person Docket call from 9 o'clock. Sometimes we don't get out till 1 or 2. I can log in the afternoon, and then I have a potential jury trial in Uvalde County in the 38th Judicial District, October 13th to 14th. So I'm available on the 10th or the 15th. If that's
well, I hope everybody is wearing their mask and using hand sanitizers.
Yes, down in the border, we've been having trials.
Well, that's what happens. You know, people don't follow rules, and we remain with the restrictions we have. Oh, Perez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you available on October 11th, or is the 12th or 13th better for you?
The 13th would be better for me, Your Honor.
All right. Plea deadline date is October 13th. Ms. Torres, your plea deadline date is October 11th.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Unless you have something else with us, you're both excused. And Mr. De La Graza, Ms. Ferguson is zooming in now.
Yeah, you're on my list to call.
So if you will give her the information, and everyone needs to make sure you're on mute.
Yes, Your Honor. I will do that right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be back in a bit when I get my paperwork done, Judge.
All right, thank you.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes,
Thank you, Judge.
you're welcome.
Oh, before I go, Judge, we're still looking for Bobby Gebbia on the fourth co-defendant.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll make sure he's in.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I hate to be rude here. I have Mr. Patagoni is in the hospital on, I've got him on FaceTime here with me. He's getting his cancer treatment. That's the best I can do for today.
So when is he free to zoom into court?
When will you be available? How long is your treatment going to take?
Oh, I don't mean today. I mean, when is a day that he's not having treatment?
When are you going to not have treatment? What day? The next treatment I have is on the 8th. So the next treatment he has on the 8th. So sometime between now and the 8th.
Okay, so sometimes before the 8th. Ms. Ferguson?
Yes, ma'am.
If I can have a date for Mr. Pettigoni before the 8th.
I can do the 6th or the 7th.
All right, 6th or 7th. Mr. Stohansky.
They're equally okay, Judge.
All right, let's do it October 7th then.
Okay. Here, Ralph, you're reset for October 7th, so you need to log in, okay? Thank you, yes, thank the
All
judge.
right, you're welcome. You're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, and then Norma, we're trying to get the inmate, Dominic James Hernandez for Rochelle Acevedo, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, this is Roland Ramos. When you have a moment,
Yes.
could you, when Ms. Reyes has time, could I go to a breakout room with Wendy Short, Covey, and Ms. Reyes?
All right, and is there going to be a prosecutor with us?
Judge, Tom and I have conferred. They're gonna withdraw, and she's gonna sign you conditions to include that.
Okay, all right, I'll meet you in breakout room number 1.
Wendy, go to number 1, okay?
And let me just find her, just give me a moment. There we go. And Bobby Gebbia, just give me a moment, please. And Mr. Sherman, just give me a moment. I will be right back. And I'm trying to find you, Roland. Hmm. 7. Norma?
Yes, ma'am.
Wendy Ray Short Covey,
Yes, ma'am.
I need a 2-month reset just to see where she is as far as being transferred for treatment. So it needs to be there, but not in the system.
Okay, give me 1 second, Judge. 2 months. I'll put it in the chat, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Have it down. All right, Ignacio Beretta, you've raised your hand.
Yes, Your Honor, I've spoken to the prosecutor. Today was set for a bond reduction, but it's moot now.
Yes, he's made bond.
So nothing else for me here.
All right, and I don't know if he's going to appear because again, it was for us to set bond.
Yeah.
So, but we are gonna need to get a date for him to put in the system.
Right.
Norma, on Faustino Guerra, he's on the recall. Is there a date already set for him in the system for court?
Let's see. Give me 1 second, Judge.
Sure. Did you have a chance to confer with the state, Mr. Barreto?
Yeah, yes, I did, Your Honor. He's since also picked up a couple additional misdemeanor cases. Just recently, one of them's a DWI. We don't have the blood work back on that either.
Okay.
So.
All right, we're gonna get your client a date. Just give me a moment.
Thank you.
In the system, that's what it has, Judge. I put it in the chat.
All right, so your client is gonna come back on October 12th because that's the date that's already in the system. So we'll see you back on October 12th.
Thank you. May I be excused?
You're welcome. Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Kelly McGinnis. Norma, on Kelly McGinnis's case, Ronaldo Garcia.
Yes, ma'am.
He may be in custody out of county. Which county would that be, Kelly?
It was Comal, Judge. From what I found was that it looked like he did bond out. So I don't know where he's at. I've been trying to call the numbers that I have. He did complete his PSI, so he did go to that appointment. I have the results. So I don't know if I can keep trying him. Can I check back in with you in a little bit?
Yes, I give everyone till 10:30. Let me find out what page your client is on. There he is.
24, Judge.
All right, I give everyone till 10:30 so you can zoom out and zoom back in.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, Kirk Sherman.
I'm here.
Yes, on Oscar Pacheco, what is happening?
Yes, ma'am. He's declined the offer and we're waiting for the court to tell us what to do next.
All right.
He is in custody and claims that there was some confusion about his failure to appear last time. I cannot vouch for that. I don't know what actually happened.
All right, where is Mr. Pacheco?
He's in the Bexar County Jail.
No, I mean, where is he on the screen? You need to go back to breakout room number 8 and have him come back to the main room, Mr. Sherman.
Okay.
Go to breakout room 8.
All right, Matthew Allen. Noah Nellum, you're just waiting on paperwork?
We reviewed the PSI. My witnesses are here in the Zoom as well, so we're ready to proceed with setting the scene when the court's
All
ready.
right, just give me one moment. Megan Enriquez. I cannot hear you. think there's something wrong with your audio.
And Judge, she's probably here for John Coons' case.
All right. And Norma, on Mr. McBride, let's recall.
Okay, I'm here, Judge.
All right, just one moment.
I
Thank
was just
you.
saying.
Just give me
Sorry.
one moment. Norma, on Mr. McBride, let's recall him from Friday. We need to discover what's going on with his mental health issues.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. McBride is L6. We're going to bring you back on Friday. Thank you. All right, Megan Enriquez.
Yeah, I apologize about that, Judge. It was something with the audio, but I think I fixed it. I just need to go back into a breakout room with Meredith if she has some time.
Okay. All right, Meredith, if you could go to breakout room number 14, please. All right. Everyone, just give me one moment. Oh, Megan Enriquez, I've assigned you to 14.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Judge, it's still showing 11, which I think where my client is.
Okay, let me see what happened. Maybe I sent the wrong person to 14. Okay. Let me, just 1 second. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
All right, where's Oscar Pacheco? All right, Norma, can you get Oscar Pacheco? I think he left the, can you get someone to go to breakout room number 8, Norma, a deputy, to bring Mr. Pacheco back to the main room, please?
Yes, do you know what seat number he was in, Judge?
He is 16A.
16A, thank you.
Yes. And then after this, Mr. Allen, we'll take up Noah Nellam. Ms. Peace on Benton Court.
Yes, Your Honor. We had a chance to confer with Mr. Guerra. We were recently hired on this matter, and I apologize. I guess it was set for an in-person at 2 o'clock. I thought it was morning Zoom. So that was the confusion this morning. I filed my discovery motion on the 14th of this month, shortly after we were retained, and we still don't have the discovery, and we do need a copy of the probation file. So if we could reset this matter with enough time to get those materials necessary before going forward.
When were you retained on this case?
Let me see. It was earlier this month, but I don't know the exact date. I filed my notice of appearance on the 10th. And
So
I filed my discovery request on the 14th.
All right, Mr. Guerra, do you know about their discovery issues?
Unfortunately, I didn't notice the discovery motion until this morning when I found out from the former attorney that Ms. Bentecourt had new counsel. So I started reviewing the discovery motion this morning. I did meet with them today, and of course I'll provide them with anything they ask for with respect to discovery.
Okay. Just give me a moment on your case. We'll need to have Ms. Reyes here. She's in a breakout room, and we're going to get a court date, and that is going to be contested, and it's going to be in person.
Okay. Your Honor, with respect to the court date, I'm sorry to say that the probation officer on this case, Travis Knock, is out of town until January 4th.
Why?
That's just when I call his phone, that's what his voicemail says. He's gone until January 4th. We might be able to get some information from Ms. Reyes about it.
Yes. Gone where?
I'm not sure.
Because I think some things can be handled by subpoena.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Just give me a moment. And is your probation officer here today?
No, Your Honor, he's not. He's when I call his number, if he just says he's not in the office till January 4th.
All right. So it appears as though the state wasn't ready to proceed. All right, Mr. Pacheco, can you unmute?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, Mr. Pacheco. My understanding is that the state has tendered an offer. Is that correct?
Yes, they have.
All right. Mr. Sherman, do you have all the discovery?
Yes, Your Honor.
How they do this year? I don't know. We're still going. Oh, wow.
All right, Mr. Pacheco, I'm going to give you a plea deadline date.
Yes, ma'am.
Your plea deadline date will be, Norma, can you give me a date, the last week in October?
The 28th, Judge.
All right, your plea deadline date will be October 28th. This is what that means.
I understand.
On that
Go ahead.
date,
Sorry. Go ahead, ma'am.
on that date, you need to let the court know whether or not you're accepting the state's offer or declining the state's offer. It's completely up to you. But after that date, the court will not accept any plea bargain agreements. The court will only accept pleas that are open to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right,
Yes,
thank
Your
you.
Honor.
So if
Thank you
you're
as well.
released from custody, you need to make sure you're on Zoom October 28th, or either you need to be in person if you can't Zoom to the 187 District Court. Do you understand?
Your Honor, yes, ma'am. If I may, I didn't mean to miss Zoom court. I had called September 15th. I missed it September 9th. I had gone to Port Aransas, ma'am. And when I did return, I did look into it as I did adamantly when I attended court March 2020. I did step into the courthouse to the metal detectors, Your Honor, and I went upstairs. I would run my SID number to the county clerk, and she would say, still pending. This was April, May, June, July, August. That was for about 6.5 months. And when I did go to Port Aransas, Your Honor, I returned September 15th, and I called one early morning to check and check my status so that I can attend court. I made the mistake of not adjusting it with the coordinator. I am disabled, ma'am. I was life flighted to BAMC, and I just was following up with my social security. It was overwhelming and it was hectic.
Your social security and injury occurred in Port Aransas?
No, ma'am, it did not occur in Port Aransas.
Was Port Aransas a vacation, a getaway?
No, it wasn't. I went to go and visit my brother, ma'am. I went to visit my brother.
Your brother lives in Port Aransas?
No, he does not live in Port Aransas, ma'am. What it was is he had offered me
a vacation.
Well,
for
yes,
you guys
we
to
went
meet,
fishing
right?
on the boardwalk. Yes, ma'am. We went fishing on the boardwalk.
All right, it sounds like you want a motion heard, then your attorney needs to file that motion. The court is more than willing to hear it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pacheco.
Yes, Your Honor. It was a matter of awareness. That's all, miss.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pacheco. That sounds like you want a motion. Here's the thing, Mr. Pacheco.
Yes, ma'am.
I will tell you, I've been a defense attorney and I've been a prosecutor. A lot of times defense attorneys don't want you talking a lot to the judge about what happened and where it happened. Because if it turns out that what you're saying, because sometimes people memories fade, if it turns out what you're saying is not true or is not provable, then your attorney is going to be stuck with the story that you've given to the court. So here's the thing, time out.
Yes, ma'am.
Your attorney will file whatever motions and the court will hear that motion, okay?
Yes, ma'am. But they are indeed facts and details, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Ferguson, Pacheco 16A can go back.
Okay.
All right, Sylvia Cavazos.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. I conferred with Mr. Martin. We had been waiting for some discovery. And so he does indicate that now a disc is available for pickup at the DA's office. So I'll be getting that and going over it with my client and hopefully get an offer by the next setting. He wasn't prepared to make an offer today because it's brand new. And so he hasn't reviewed it either.
All right, Norma, can you recall Gatan for 30 days, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll be getting a date later then?
No,
Just
you're
to
gonna get
make
a date right now.
Okay, right now, okay.
Yes.
I will put it in.
All right, your new court date will be November 4th. And so all discovery has been taken care of, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, after this, I believe so.
All right, you and your client are excused. Have a great rest of your day.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. You as well. Have a good
All right,
one.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Eric Hernandez.
Good morning, Your Honor. I conferred with Mr. Joe Ray Garcia this morning. There is a plea option on the table. Mr. McGarity is asking if we can be recalled this afternoon. He would like some time to consider it, I guess, get some family input, and he's not feeling well on top of that. Can we be recalled this afternoon?
Yes, Norma, can you recall Mr. McGarity? We'll bring him back at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Same Zoom information and everything, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right, I'll rejoin him in the breakout room. And is he free to come back at 2 from the breakout room?
Yes, he is.
All right, Judge, we'll see you this afternoon.
All right, thank you. Megan Enriquez.
Yes, Judge. We've conferred with Meredith. We don't have an agreement. We just need to be placed on the trial docket for Everett Gonzalez.
All right, has an offer been tendered?
Yes, Judge.
Have you received all discovery?
Yes, Judge.
All right, where is Everett James Gonzalez? Where are you?
He is present. He might still be in the breakout room I'm not sure if he's still stuck in a breakout room.
Let me see here.
I was in 11 with him, but then I moved to 14 with Meredith.
All right, if you can go back to number 11, please, and have your client come out of the breakout room.
Sure.
Norma, on Everett, can I have a 2-week reset, please, for a plea deadline date?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then Rebecca on Grace Benton Court.
Yes, ma'am.
Norma, if you can go to a breakout room with Rebecca, the defense counsel, and Mr. Garrett to see what date they can have all their discovery done, and give them a date for contested hearing.
Yes,
and let them know that they are to appear in court on that date.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to send you all to breakout room number 1. So Mr. Garrett, if you could go to 1, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Benton Court, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1 as well.
And Judge, that's the defendant in court or defendant in probation?
Defendant needs to be in the courtroom on the date that's chosen, but the defense is saying that they need some discovery from probation.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Who is U705AC? Could you unmute for me, please? Hi, what's your name?
Pete Diaz.
All right, Mr. Diaz, I'm going to see you in the 187 District Court. We are located at 300 De La Rosa, 4th floor.
Why is that?
Well, number 1, I did say no laying in bed. And where are you? You're in a bed. So I'll see you in the 187 District Court. Your Zoom privileges are revoked.
Judge, may I be placed in that breakout room with Ms. Betancourt as well, please? This is Tom.
Yes.
Thank you,
Let me
Judge.
find which room you were in.
I think you said 1, but I'm not totally sure.
No. I'm trying to figure out where you are on the Zoom screen before I send you there, because you're in a breakout room and I need to see what breakout room you were previously in. There you are.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. And Norma, I'll send you to breakout room number 1 as well. All right, and then the parties on Noam Nellum. Who is the attorney on Noam Nellum?
Matthew Allen for the defense and David Martin was handling it for the state.
Okay, then we will take that matter up, and everyone just put some patience in your pocket. We will get to you. Just 1 second. Megan Enriquez on Everett Gonzalez.
Yes, Judge, he's present. He's out of the breakout room. I don't know if you see him there in a blue shirt.
All right, Ms. Enriquez, we're going to come back either October 13th or October 14th. What's the best day for you?
Either one works fine, Judge.
All right, Mr. Mr. Everett Gonzalez. Your plea deadline date is going to be October 13th. I always give people plea deadline dates. So when we come back on that date, you need to let the court know definitively that you're accepting or not accepting the offer. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I always like to have give people time to think over an offer. And so your date is going to be October 13th. The court will not extend any plea deadline dates past that point. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, you and your client are excused, Ms. Enriquez.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Last week, so I don't know if she has put it down.
All right, the court is calling 2020 CR 8296, State of Texas versus Noah Jonathan Nellam. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
David Martin.
For the defense?
Matthew Allen.
And are you Noah Nellam?
Yes, Your Honor.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. The court will note for the record that the defendant entered his plea to count one, the lesser included offense, on August 12th by video. Any objections to us proceeding by video, state?
No objection.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Nellam, do you have any objections to us proceeding by video?
No, ma'am.
All right. As stated, the defendant entered a plea of guilty to count one, the lesser included offense of aggravated sexual assault of a child. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 15 years in the prison. There's an affirmative finding that he's not eligible for judge-ordered community supervision. State opposes the application for deferred adjudication. There's to be Chapter 62 compliance, and there are no contact orders as well. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No objection.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, state, you're opposed. Do you have any witnesses?
No, we don't.
All right, defense, any witnesses?
Yes, Judge. We would call Thomas Blom, and he should be present on the Zoom.
Here, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Blum, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you could state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Yes, my name is Thomas Blum. Thomas, Thomas. Last name Blum, Blom.
All right, defense?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Blom, what do you do for a living?
I'm a software engineer and a photographer.
Okay. And you know the defendant in this case, Noah Nellam?
Yes, I do.
How long have you known him?
I've worked with him pretty closely for about 3 years now.
And when you say work with him, in what capacity?
In late September, I was appointed by CASA as his court-appointed special advocate. And so I worked with him in that capacity officially for 2 years, attending lots of meetings, hearings, and going to various homes that he was placed in. And then he aged out of the CPS system about, after that 2 years. And then in the last 2 years, I've just kind of acted as a mentor and a friend. He's been incarcerated most of that time, so I've just maintained a prepaid card so that he would have someone he could call, and we have been in touch on a weekly basis.
All right, and you mentioned CASA. What is CASA?
It stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate, and it's an advocacy group that appoints people like myself to kind of have a mentor type relationship with kids that are in the CPS system. Somebody that will kind of have a relationship with him and also with any placements that he's in. Go to his schools, talk to counselors, attend kind of various hearings at schools. And the idea is since attorneys often change in these cases, that there would be someone in this child's life that's kind of a constant over some period of time. So yeah.
Okay. And you said you've maintained contact while Noah's in custody, right?
That's right. Yeah. Initially, I believe it was in January 2020 when he was actually still in a ward of the state through CPS. And then once he turned 18 as well, just, made clear at that time I was no longer an official CASA representative since he had aged out of that system at 18, but just chose to continue, being a mentor and friend to him.
Okay. And describe your interactions with Noah. What type of person is Noah, the Noah Nellam that you know?
Yeah, so the Noah Nellam I know is, very soft-spoken, very sweet, very kind, makes friends easily, kind of curious and, interested also to live a good life. He didn't have a great start in a lot of ways, but I saw him through a number of homes, including in Houston, in Lampasas, LifeWorks here in Austin, visited with his teachers and principal when he was in the Pflugerville school system, talked to counselors and social workers when he was in the San Antonio school system. And, universally, people say he's super sweet. He makes friends really easily. I just think he's a kind-hearted guy. He's a good kid. I have 4 boys myself, one of them almost exactly his age, and I wouldn't still be working with him and being a friend to him if I thought otherwise.
And obviously you're aware of that Noah did take a plea on this case, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you've been a support system. If the judge were to give Noah some type of probation or community supervision, would you continue to be a support system for him?
Absolutely.
Do you think he could benefit from some programs or structure that probation and the court could provide?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the structure part of it is really important. When I visited, when he was at the Williams House in Lampasas, when he was at Gulf Coast Trade School in Houston, I visited with the people there, visited him there, and consistently got the feedback, all those places have types of programs where they say, if you have this kind of behavior, if you do this kind of stuff, you make it to level 2 and you get these privileges, and then you can make it to level 3 and then you get these privileges. And he was consistently kind of one of the top guys with respect to that kind of stuff, with respect to, I want to do well, I want to show people I can do well. And similarly, the last, before he was incarcerated, the last place he was, the HCS home in the Austin area, similarly, got feedback from those guys that, when there's a system in place that kind of rewards kind of like the good behavior, I mean, Noah's the kind of kid that, he wants to do that. He wants to go to Austin Park and Pizza and do the rides and drive the cars, and he will be on his best behavior to get to do that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that Noah could be successful if he were given some type of probation?
I do. And especially, like I said, especially if he can be in one of these homes, which I believe is available to him right now, should he be released to probation. I mean, I think that's key. And I think that, I mean, Noah can speak for himself on this, but I think that that's what he's interested in. When he turned 18, he had the choice to do anything he wanted to do. And by that time, he and I had agreed, that he wanted to stay in that HCS home where he was receiving services, where he was receiving therapy, and kind of in a group setting with other, with other adults that, need some help with their living situation. So I do think so, yes.
And so when he was doing those things, Noah seemed motivated to get help and open to receiving treatment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I think that, yeah, I wish he had gotten more treatment when he was in some of the other homes. I mean, it was the situation where he often didn't get to the therapy that he needed. And so, I think being in one of these, health and home and community services, I believe it's called HCS homes, I really think that's a great spot for him.
Okay. Mr. Blum, is there anything else that you want Judge Boyd to know before making her decision?
I guess, I think Noah's a great kid. I think that he, had a pretty bad start in life. I met him when he was 16 and kind of went over all the records that I could read at that time through CPS. And he had just kind of been involved in all kinds of, stuff, from a very early age. And, I think he's a good kid. And I think that, he has ambitions. When he was down at Gulf Coast, he enrolled in a botanical program there and got the degree, and talked to me about wanting to start, Nellum's lawn service when he got back to Austin. I mean, he wants to do stuff, and, yeah, I would just love to, he needs some of the services. He needs care, and I think that, I would just hope for him to get into a home where he can kind of get that support and care that he needs.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, but Mr. Martin may have some for you.
All right, State.
No questions.
All right, call your next witness.
Thank you. We call Augustine Tam.
My name. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I swear to that.
All right, you can lower your hand if you could state your name for the record and spell it, please.
My name is Augustine Tambi, and the spelling is Augustine, Augustine, and the last name T as in Tom, Ambe.
All right, Mr. Allen, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Tambi, how do you know Noah?
I happen to know Noah. He was in the CPS custody, and he was then transferred to the program that we manage, which is the HCS program, to one of our group homes where he was residing. So he came to us roughly 2 years ago, and he was with us until he was then taken to jail.
Okay. And what do you do for a living, or how are you associated with the home?
I'm the program manager for the home, and we, as mentioned, we provide group home and community-based services for individuals who are intellectually or developmentally disabled, and which Noah falls under that category. He was awarded a slot by the state to be placed in a group home. The group home do have 24-hour supervision, and also we provide other therapy services that is provided by the program, and this is funded by the state.
Okay, would he still be eligible for this type of group home or another one?
Yeah, he's still currently eligible for the program. When he was incarcerated, he was placed on a temporary hold, and as soon as he is off, if at all they do release him, he will be going back to the group home.
Okay.
And that funding is still available for him.
Okay. And so you've been a support system. If he were to be given probation, would you continue to be a support system for Noah?
That's correct. As I mentioned, we provide a group home setting for him. So when he leaves, we'll be the ones to provide ensuring that he has a place to stay, ensuring that he has his medical care and attend to any type of probation or any therapy services that's going to be required of him. We will be the ones responsible to ensure that those services are provided to him, and to make sure that he attends those meetings. We want to make sure that he lives in an environment where he's with other individuals with similar disabilities, that he can thrive and function well in the community.
And in your dealings with Noah, has he been compliant and followed those rules?
That's correct. In our homes, we have certain rules that you have to comply. The state has certain requirements that our group homes have to comply with. And with Noah, ever since he's been at the home, we haven't had any issues with him. He's been very compliant, attending all the different programs that he's been assigned to, going to the day program. We've been out looking for work for him, and that didn't go through because he was incarcerated, but that was his goal, to get a job as soon as he turned 18. So we're looking at all of those issues for him, to help him so that he can be able to acquire some independent living skills, so he can be able to function independently in the community with supervision from us.
Okay. And do you think that if he were to be granted probation, that he could follow the rules that the court sets in front of him?
That's correct. If at all he's granted probation, we ensure that he maintains or follow the requirements of his probation, ensure that, and he's going to be in our supervision, so we ensure that the crime that he had committed, that's the thing that will require for him to attend, counseling. We have counselors that he'll be seeing. We have a LPC counselor that he's going to see, and also we have psychologists, behavior therapists that they'll be meeting with him to develop a plan that he'll be followed.
Okay. And is there anything else that you want Judge Boyd to know before she makes a decision on Noah?
I'll say, just as Mr. Tom indicated earlier, that Noah is someone of good character. He's not a perfect kid, just because of his childhood, but just from the short time that I've been with him, and I've seen him to be someone of good character, who can be able to follow directions and do the things that is required of him to avoid, getting into problems. All along, he's with us 24 hours, and so during those periods, we didn't see any issues. He turned 18 at that time. He requested he wanted to go to Austin Parks and Pizza, and we're able to get him there with other friends, and so he was able to have fun. And it's someone that he likes life. He wants to live a good life, and we'll be happy to see him get probation, so he can be able to go out in the community and be the person that he needs to be.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions, but Mr. Martin may.
State?
In that group home, what age range of people reside there?
We have, the group homes do not discriminate in terms of ages. And whenever we do have individuals, we place them in group homes in settings where we have individuals within the same age range. So where he'll be going, he'll have individuals within his own age range. So he wouldn't be placed in a home where you have an individual who is 60 years old or an individual who cannot speak or walk. So he's going to be in a home where those individuals will be within his own age range and function, within his level.
Okay, and the counselors that you have there for him, are any of them trained in specialized sex offenders?
The counselors that we have, normally when we have individuals with sexual issues, we then contract with counselors in the community, and then we then ask those counselors to meet with the individual. Currently, we have a counselor who's an LPC, and she's also trained in sexual issues also and behavioral issues.
Okay, and have you had a lot of, I guess, residents in your group homes that have to go and see a counselor all the time?
We have, as you know, with this program, we have individuals who are intellectually or developmentally disabled, and some of them do have behavioral issues. And so most of them do see the counselors on a regular basis.
Okay, and have you had sex offenders in your group homes that go to see counselors on a regular basis?
We've had a sex offender that saw a counselor, not in our group home, but was living in a foster setting. And so was seeing a counselor on a regular basis, and until he was able to be cleared to be not to have any issues, so he's out of the program. He's been deemed not to have any issues.
Okay, and you'd agree with me that you could go to a counselor as many times as you're told to, but unless you acknowledge what your problem is, they can't help you, right?
I understand that is correct.
All right, no more questions. All
right, any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
All right, any other witnesses defense?
Yes, Judge. I have two more. Anyi Abenge.
How do you spell the first name, please?
Anyi.
All right, if I could have that person, please show your video. Thank you. And Brenda, off the record for a moment. Alfonso Cabanas.
Yes, Judge.
Just give me one moment. All right, what is happening with your case?
Your Honor, Meredith and I have reached an agreement. I've emailed Norma for the paperwork on Mr. Pacina's MTR.
All right, thank you. We'll take that up after this.
Yes, sir.
All right, Holly Peace.
Yes, Your Honor, we're back. So what we've worked out with Ms. Ferguson is if we could come back on 10/25 just for a status conference. After speaking with the probation department, it seems as though the only way to obtain those materials is through a subpoena. So if we could set that, the plan is to set that for the status on 10/25 to confirm that we've received the subpoena and any other discovery. And then from there, work out a contested date.
All right, then you and your client are excused. We'll recall this for October 25th. Whatever subpoena that needs to be filed, it needs to be filed so they can be served immediately.
Yes, Your Honor, and I believe the state, to be doubly sure, is also serving a subpoena, so we should get it on one way or the other.
That's correct, Your Honor. We're also serving a subpoena.
All right, thank you. Let me just find what page she is on. There we go. All right, you and your client are excused.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Maybe excuse too, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Any other defense attorney ready before we continue with this hearing?
Judge. Yes, I'm ready, Judge. We're just requesting a trial setting on Kadir Gunner.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. Ms. Ferguson, if you could go to number 1 and confer on a trial date.
Judge, thank you.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
welcome.
Can you send Scott Simpson to number 1 as well, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Anthony Zamora.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm sending you to 1. So whoever the prosecutor is on Kadir Gunner, if you could go to number 1 as well, please. And we are back on the record. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to need you to speak up for me. If you could lower your hand. If you could state
Yes,
your
Your
name
Honor.
for the record and spell it, please.
My name is Aninkeng Abange. It is A as an apple, Nyingeng. The last name is Adange.
All right, you can lower your hand. Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Abangi, how do you know Noah Nellam?
Noah came, I'm the case manager. He came into our group home and I was assigned as his case manager about, I would say, 2 years ago.
Okay, and you're his case manager. Where do you work?
At the group home, the Mafu HCS group home here in the community.
Okay, is that the same home that we've been talking about?
Yes, sir.
All right. And as far as your interactions with Noah, how do you know Noah to be? What kind of person is he?
He's a very respectful young man. The first day I met him was very respectful. He was very likable. He was very social. Yes.
And we've heard about the programs that the home has to offer. And do you think that Noah could benefit from continuing those programs and continuing therapy?
Yes. He was very lively. He had a lot of goals. He wanted to work. He also made friends in his group home. And I know he will really benefit because when I told him that these are the things that he has to do here at the group home, he was very receptive to the rules and to the activities that the program provides.
Okay, and so if he were placed on probation, he would have additional rules. You think he would be able to follow those and be successful?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Would you continue to be a support system for Noah?
Yes, I'll continue to be his case manager.
Okay.
And I'll ensure that he goes for his probation, if at all he's put on probation, or any other activity that he's supposed to do or program.
All right. And just briefly, is there anything else that you want Judge Boyd to know before making her decision on Noah?
Well, Judge, I just wanted you to know that Noah he has goals out here in the community. He's going to do well if he's placed out here because he's very respectful. He follows directions. He wants to learn. He wants to be engaged. He has a lot of life in him and life ahead of him, that if he were to be placed out here in the community, he's going to thrive.
All right. Thank you. I don't have any further questions. Mr. Martin may have a few.
All right, State.
I have no questions.
All right, thank you. Do you have another witness?
Yes, Judge. This will be our last witness, Dr. John Fabian.
Oh, I am so sorry. I accidentally, I think, removed. Oh, no, there she is. I thought I had accidentally removed her from the meeting. All right. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear, Your Honor.
You can lower your hand if you could state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Sure. John Matthew Fabian, JOHN MATTHEW FABIAN.
All right. Defense?
Thank you. Dr. Fabian, just to go through your background a little bit, what types of degrees do you hold?
In brief, Your Honor, I'm a forensic psychologist and a neuropsychologist. So, undergraduate degrees in political science psychology. I have 2 master's degrees in general and then clinical psychology, doctorate in clinical psychology with a forensic psychology emphasis. I have a Juris Doctorate law degree and then fellowship training, sort of postdoctorate certification and fellowship training in clinical neuropsychology.
Okay, and let me just tell you, Mr. Allen, I've been listening intently to all the witnesses. It appears that people have been dancing around whatever his issues are. They're just saying he went through things, in foster care, or that he didn't have the best of upbringing. That's why he was in foster care. But the one question I would like, and nobody may have the answer to this, but my question is why? Why did this happen?
And as far as the specifics of his history, I was going to let Dr. Fabian get into that.
Okay, I just wanted to, these are questions I have. So I just wanted to make sure if anybody had an answer to these questions that I would let them know.
Sure. Thank you, Judge.
Why did this offense occur?
Mr. Allen, you may do a kind of a narrative of his background history leading to my perception of why?
Yes.
All right.
Well, I mean, it depends on whether the state is going to object to a narrative.
No.
So it needs to be question and answer unless the state is not going to object to a narrative.
No, if he just wants to provide his opinion, that's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Fabian.
Okay. I'll try to keep this brief, Your Honor. Yes, a bit of a tumultuous background, and his parents separated when he was young. I think his mother had been using substances, and he was born on, I think, under the influence of substances, meaning his mother used alcohol and or drugs during pregnancy. Okay. And his father had bipolar disorder by history, and he had some different, half and full-blooded siblings, a lot of chaos, moving to different foster homes, and lived with, his grandmother and aunt for much of his childhood. There was physical and emotional abuse and beatings by, the mother or the grandmother and aunt. So a lot of domestic violence, more physical and emotional verbal abuse he was exposed to. There was CPS involvement throughout his childhood. And I think one thing that's really important here is there was evidence of sexual abuse when he was placed let me see, around age 16, if I may. I'm just looking at some of my notes. It's the only thing I'm looking at. Gulf Coast Training Center. He reported around 16 or 17 he was placed there that he had been sexually abused there. Another thing I think is critical in this case is that, there's certainly evidence of what we call neurodevelopmental disorders. They often come in pairs, and he has intellectual disability mild, formerly mild mental retardation, and ADHD. So he's had cognitive emotional behavioral deficits, and Mr. Allen was able to get me, I'm not sure if you're privy to those records, Your Honor, but different assessments through Texas Department of Aging and Disability Services. And there was, chronic neglect, nutritional neglect, even by age 3. That's where he was pulled out by CPS. And then grandmother was later unable to care for him because of her health conditions. With that said, he had been hospitalized psychiatrically, accidental overdose with Kush. So we do have a substance use problem. So there's a few markers here that I'll just, focus on. Intellectual disability and ADHD. So there's, significant neurodevelopmental conditions, history of special education. And then when we look at, he's been tested quite a few times, including by myself, and his IQ, last one was a 62, and that was administered 7/29/19. So it's not too old. It's about 2 years. That was on the WASE 4. 62 IQ is mild intellectual disability, getting closer to moderate. And they also indicated adaptive functioning score of 64. So in order to have intellectual disabilities, you may know you need significant limitations developmentally and currently in both intellectual functioning, 62 IQ, and adaptive functioning, 64. In my opinion, this gentleman cannot probably ever live independently on his own. With that said, ADHD, he's more inattentive, distracted, more impulsive. Certainly will have difficulties in all prongs of functioning, emotional, behavioral, cognitive, interpersonal.
Dr. Fabian, I'm sorry, let me just interrupt you one
Sure.
moment. Because there is such a shortage, there is a sentencing that is going to happen, and it's a sentencing for time to the courtroom. Is Robert Maurer in the courtroom?
Judge, I am in the courtroom. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Judge, my client is here. Apparently he broke his leg at work. He has a tube and a machine coming out of his leg that the tube is supposed to remove from his leg in a couple of days. I wanted to see if we could push this back to next week. This is just a sentencing for time.
Okay, I cannot see you, Mr. Maurer, because you're standing too close to the camera.
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
That's okay. Where's your client?
Judge, he's present. He's on crutches.
Who's the prosecutor on this case?
Marcus.
Judge, I couldn't even tell you.
All right, it's Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus, his client is coming before us in crutches with a tube sticking out of his leg. Are you okay with rescheduling this for 2 days? Mr. Hernandez, when is that device to be removed from your leg?
The 5th. I wanted to push it, he said the 5th, Judge. I wanted to see if we could push it back a week.
All right. Are you okay with recalling this, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Ms. Ferguson,
Yes, ma'am.
on Mr. Hernandez, can we recall this? He said the device will be removed from his leg on the 5th. Can we recall this for the 12th? Is that possible?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is that good with your schedule, Mr. Maurer?
Yes, Judge, it'll work.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, you're going to need to be back here on October 12th at 9 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
in person. Do not leave until you're given your reset form. And Mr. Maurer, if you'll come to the back offices, Ms. Ferguson will give you the reset form.
Will do. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And Norman, the other cases that we're having the reset date,
Yes, ma'am.
have they been given their reset date?
I'm sorry, Judge. Give me 1 second.
All right, thank you. Everyone, just put some patience in your pocket. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Allen and Mr. Martin, and Mr. Nella and Mr. Fabian. Well, Dr. Fabian. Rochelle Acevedo.
Yes, Judge.
Hi, if you could show your video for me, please. All right, what is happening with your client?
Judge, they never put me in a breakout room. I've been waiting for my client.
Ah, okay. So your client is still, your client is in custody, correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. Ms. Ferguson, if you could go to breakout room number 1, please, and find out the location of Ms. Acevedo's client. 2021. She'll be able to give you an estimated time of arrival.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Yes. Okay. All right, we can go back on the record.
I'll be back.
All right, Mr. Allen, I believe Dr. Fabian was still given a narrative of the defendant's background.
Yes, Dr. Fabian, if you would continue.
Yeah, sure. Judge, can you see me, by the way? I was looking around all these boxes and I didn't see myself.
No,
but...
I can see you.
Okay.
You're actually on spotlight on my screen, so I can see everyone involved in this hearing.
All right. So in brief, we've got intellectual disability, and then we've got ADHD. These are neurodevelopmental disorders that are going to affect him in numerous areas of life functioning. In my opinion, my neuropsychological battery that I gave him was a score of 59, less than first percentile, consistent with his 62 IQ. He's got significant brain dysfunction and ultimately, in my opinion, cannot probably ever live on his own independently. He's going to need some type of assistance. And probably the least restrictive would be some type of halfway house, partial independent living, where he's going to need to be, assisted and certainly connected with the MRDD board. With that said, he did have an inpatient hospitalization for a Kush overdose. So we do have a chemical dependency problem and a dependence to cannabis Kush, which is kind of a pseudo cannabis, sometime hallucinogen type drug. And he has a unspecified bipolar and related disorder, meaning that he has some mood instability and he has issues with kind of anger, ADHD, depression, and mania. Now, he's been treated with Abilify, antipsychotic that's often used with folks with depression and bipolar. And he's, I think, been treated with trazodone for depression. So, so that's kind of where he comes into this case with those impairments, mental illness, intellectual disability, and addiction. Now, with that said, his statement to me was similar to that with probation, where he did state that the victim initiated the pulling of the pants down. Now, that denial is not, interestingly, related to risk. It's not related to, I would say, remorse or lack thereof in this case. It's probably, in my opinion, due to shame, embarrassment, and lack of insight. So when not all folks with intellectual disability have committed sex offenses, no question, but in certain ways they may be more at risk to do so. So where we're looking at is, as far as needs of services.
Are you listening to him? Yeah. That's your attorney?
No. Excuse me.
I don't know who my attorney is.
Just one second. Let me see who that is from.
I think that's
Mr. Hernandez, you need to sit and you need to wait. And I believe that is.
Judge, that might be Rochelle's client.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, I'm sending you to breakout room number 1. All right, Dr. Fabian, you may continue.
Sure. The issue of denial is, in my opinion, is not, we see it often with folks charged with offenses, including sex offenses. He's intellectually disabled, and I think that he would be lacking insight into the nature of these behaviors, certainly as to whether they're related in part to his own sexual victimization at Gulf Shores. So he did not provide to me motivations, accountability, description of his sex offense, and his thoughts, feelings, and sexual behaviors with this victim. With that said, I guess, how would he be able to do that is a question. Now, I'm just saying that as far as the programming that would be necessary is psychiatric medication management for the bipolar and mood disorder, as well as ADHD. Number two, he has participated in a substance abuse treatment program, and that's because of this K2. And if he's on supervision, he would need to, have drug analysis screens. Three, I think he needs individual therapy to, with someone who deals with folks with intellectual disability, to get into social skill development, some of these issues with anger and mood. And then finally, he would need an intellectually disabled or a low functioning cognitive disability type sex offender group program. If offered, I think those are offered in San Antonio, in Bexar County. I can find information for that. That would be, I think, helpful in order to get more at the root of his offense pattern. And given the plethora of these psychiatric, neuropsychiatric issues, the structure, someone with intellectual disability like that certainly needs like a structured program. I did hear these folks that are talking about where he would live, but he would need these other services. And I don't really think he can work or, again, live independently.
And Dr. Fabian, you you mentioned about his recitation of the facts and how that can relate to therapy. Is that something you said that's common? Is that something that can be worked on through therapy and things can develop through that individual therapy that you're saying he could benefit?
Well, I mean, denial with sex offenders of any guilt is not a surprise, and we see it every day with high average functioning folks charged with sex offenses. He's childlike, and he's very, emotionally regressed, intellectually regressed. I mean, everything about him is delayed and impaired. That's not going to improve a whole lot, but I think with both individual therapy and then sex offender group treatment programming with other offenders, but he needs to be in a low functioning kind of like ID, intellectually disabled, learning disabled, sex offender treatment kind of group setting. He can't be with like average functioning sex offenders. But I would say, yes, that would be of assistance with him developing insight into these behaviors, as well as risk management practices. It's not all about, I mean, it's about gathering insight into what you did, why you did it, but it's also into risk management policies, behavioral modification as to, assisting him in developing insight as to how this cannot happen again, how he cannot be, alone with children, etc.
So you went through a list of things that you believe Noah would benefit from. Those types of things, to me, they sound pretty specific as far as because of what Noah suffers from.
It's a special needs case, certainly. No matter how we look at it, there's these different, domains of dysfunction conditions that he has in the treatment for them that he needs. Yes.
Okay. And so being in an environment where he's with, you said normal or normal functioning sex offenders, such as prison, that's not going to benefit him as much as getting these specialized treatment and therapy sessions that you're talking about.
Yeah, he would not be ever able to appreciate, comprehend, complete, progress through a sex offender treatment program unless it's special needs based.
Okay. And again, just to go through, I mean, the records that you've reviewed revealed he was born premature due to his mother's alcohol and drug use, right?
Right. And this would be fetal alcohol syndrome or whatever drug abuse syndrome. It's not just what we call fetal alcohol effect, which, it would be more, syndrome, meaning that his IQ, he's intellectually disabled, and we have serious concerns that was manifested by, the prenatal substance use and the prematurity.
Okay. And then again, throughout his life, he suffered physical, emotional, and sexual abuse.
Yeah, and it's difficult to get a individual with intellectual disability to really, put forth symptoms of flashbacks, nightmares, of trauma, because they're very low functioning. They lack insight into their symptoms and difficulty detailing the symptoms. So there are trauma issues there. Very well may qualify for PTSD, but that's what he would need to be dealing in therapy, both individual, which I recommend, and then with like a group sex offender program with folks that are low functioning.
Okay. And I mean, I think we covered it, but anything else as far as from your assessments or your review of Noah's case that you feel would be important for Judge Boyd to know?
No, I mean, if he's given supervision in the community, he's very childlike and from all fronts. And so he would need that structure with all these different type of programs, responsibilities, and a place that he could reside indefinitely, because he cannot live by himself in the community.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Fabian. The state may have some questions for you.
Sure.
Any questions?
No question.
Any other witnesses, defense?
No, Your Honor, just argument.
State, any witnesses?
Okay.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. I'm going to recall this case for 2. There's been a lot of testimony that I want to have a chance to think about. And then at 2, I'll have both argument from both sides.
Judge, I have another sentencing at 2 in the 144th. I was just letting the court know.
All right, see you all at 2.
All right, thanks, Judge.
Sure. Ms. Ferguson, can you schedule Mr. Nellam to come back at 2 p.m., please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And he's 14 in. Are the parties ready on Guadalupe Cedillo?
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Mr. Cedillo, present, ready on bond, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Cedillo? And who is the prosecutor on Guadalupe Cedillo?
Pro Tem Scott Simpson, Your Honor.
All right, let me see where Scott Simpson is.
Judge, give me just 1 second. I'm texting him right now.
Okay. And to the clerks, could I have the file back, please, on Gunnar Kadir? It's cause number 2018 CR 9130, please. Thank you. All right, Norma, everyone, just give me a break, please. Scott Simpson, are you ready?
I am ready, Your Honor.
All right. All right, if I could have Mr. Bartholomew, if you could move a little bit closer to your client because we can't see you at all. All right, thank you. Court is calling 2020 CR 8467, State of Texas versus Guadalupe Cedillo. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Scott Simpson for the state of Texas.
For the defense?
Bartholomew, on behalf of Mr. Simpson, excuse me, on behalf of Mr. Cedillo, present on bond, Your Honor, and ready.
All right, and are you Mr. Guadalupe Cedillo?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Cedillo. We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. The court will note for the record that the defendant is in the courtroom. Any objections to us proceeding by video, state?
No objections.
Defense?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Cedillo, I'm showing you what's entitled defendant's consent to appear by video conference. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you elect and did you sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, I'm showing you the acknowledgement of discovery. Have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
I believe we have, and we have, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Next, I'm going to show you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney and did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, on both counts, sir. He's pleading to both counts, Your Honor.
Mr. Cedillo, I'm showing you what's entitled court's admonishment and defendant's waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it at all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand in each count you're charged with injury to a child, bodily injury intentionally and knowingly? That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine, and that's for count 1 and count 2. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand in each count, you have a right to jury trial, right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication in each of these counts, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, and sentence you up to 10 years in each count and up to a $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Believe that he does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he is currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I believe on both he was, Your Honor.
Mr. Cedillo, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Before I talk to you about the plea bargain page, I have a question for the state and the defense. There's a box checked where the state recommends community supervision. I think this may be the defendant's initials. It looks like there's a checkbox by state opposes community supervision, deferred adjudication. So I'm assuming this is just the defendant's initials that have ran towards the line. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. We read the plea agreement initially and then we reviewed it, Your Honor.
All right. So this is how I'm reading. Yes,
Judge, so we're recommending community supervision, but we're silent on their application for deferred.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Cedillo, did you review the plea bargain page with your attorneys and did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea bargain agreement, you are to be entering a plea or the state is proceeding on both count 1 and 2. Punishment is to be assessed at 8 years in the prison. There's a $1,000 fine. The state will remain silent on your application for deferred adjudication. The state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
The agreement as we understand it this time, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Next, I'm going to show you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counselor, have there been any such motions?
No rulings at this time by the court, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 4 years. There be 100 hours of community service restitution, parenting class, anger management, no contact with Paul Martinez, Andrew Aguilar, Xavier Salazar, or Emily Cedillo. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to count 1 in the indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
To count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence to support the defendant's pleas.
Yes, Your Honor. We'll submit state's exhibit number 1 plus attachments. The ages of the 2 boys are in the structured narrative. I believe it's like 5 and 6. I'm sorry, I don't have my copy here in front of me, but I made sure to highlight where it has dates of birth of both boys.
All right, thank you so much. Any objections, defense?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Cedillo, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty of count 1 and count 2. Court would defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Would both parties wish to proceed with sentencing?
We do, Your Honor.
All right, anything you wish to, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
Scott?
I'm
That's
fine.
okay.
I'm fine with that, Judge. Sorry.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client, Mr. Bartholomew?
Your Honor, there's a co-defendant in this case, was his wife, Your Honor. She's previously been sentenced in this case to deferred, apparently for conscious indifference, Your Honor, to the situation. We'd ask, and I've counseled long and hard with my client. She's pregnant at this time, Your Honor, with how many children? One child on the way, Your Honor. We have a potential no contact order with his other children and with her, Judge. We'd ask that in the event that the court places him on deferred, Your Honor, that he be allowed to contact his wife, Judge, and that we have an opportunity to review any further contact with the children at some later date, pending how he does and how he's on the program. She's completed an anger management course already, Judge, for CPS, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And we're not sure whether that would, at this point in time, comport with the court's requirement, as there's an anger management class considered in this particular case. He's gainfully employed, Your Honor. He's making $9.50 an hour and is contemplating applying now to McDonald's, Your Honor, for a $13.50 an hour job, Your Honor. So he has the ability to maintain and support his children, Judge, and we'd ask the court to place him on deferred, give him an opportunity to restore his good name in the community, and eventually, Your Honor, to be reunited with his children.
All right, what is the co-defendant's name?
Pauline Salazar, Judge. We did the plea in front of you. That was the one where you helped try to get her placed for a place to live. Remember we were
Okay,
back
I
in your
remember.
office for a while?
Yes, no, I remember
Mr.
this.
Carley
case.
represented her, Your Honor.
All right, I remember it now. Mr. Cedillo?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're under oath. The clerk swore you in. How old are you?
I'm 39.
All right, why are you holding a child's head underneath the water?
Just, I don't know, ma'am.
Well, I mean, you had to know. What were you thinking?
I wasn't.
Child
thinking-
can't breathe.
I
No, you
wasn't
have to be thinking something because you grab a child.
think it was just out of anger, ma'am.
What are you angry about?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
Well, I mean, you have to know, because here's the thing. If you're going to hold a child's head underwater, the first thing you have to do is you have to find water, or either you have to run water in a bathtub or run water in something. Then you have to take the child, grab the child, and hold their head underneath water. So my question is, why were you doing this?
Being stupid, ma'am.
No, that's not being stupid. Being stupid is you're jumping off a bridge into water below thinking it's going to be fine. Being stupid is jumping into a pen where there's a bull and you decide you're going to run around the bull because you saw it in a Bugs Bunny cartoon. That's being stupid. But you took a child's head and held it underneath the water. So what were you thinking when the child's head was being held underneath the water?
I wasn't thinking, ma'am.
And then what were you thinking when you were striking them with belts?
It's just anger, man. I felt like I just wanted to spank him, like just trying to teach him a lesson.
A lesson from what?
Just he kept stealing, and I just didn't know how else to deal with it. You know, I told him to stop stealing. He kept stealing, and I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to.
Because it's in here that he actually was not stealing. But this is what I'm reading. It says, he described another incident where he got in trouble for talking about the belt hitting his hand. So AP, that's you, dragged him to his room by the hair, and once in the room proceeded to slap him. He described all of this to feel very painful and that it causes him to cry.
That's incorrect, ma'am.
Okay.
I've never done that.
Child stated that he has been choked by AP1 on multiple occasions and stated he was unable to breathe, and described his body to be floating because his feet would be off the ground and body against the wall from AP1 choking him.
That's incorrect, ma'am.
He also described his face being shoved into water. and AP's bed and pillow on multiple occasions, also preventing him from being able to breathe.
No, ma'am, that's false, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I think we lost Mr. Simpson. Let me see, he's back.
I'm here still. I'm here, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Sadia, are you saying none of this is true? That none of this happened? Are you saying that you did not hold it? Sorry?
I did spank them.
So you're saying you didn't hold this child's head underneath the water?
I mean, I probably did it like on one occasion, but it wasn't long, ma'am. It wasn't like I was trying to hurt him or anything.
Okay. Is there anything else from either side?
Nothing further from the defense at this time, Your Honor.
Nothing from state.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court is going to find you guilty of count 1, guilty of count 2. And each count 1 and count 2 will run concurrent. Court will sentence you to 8 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 4 years. $1,000 fine, that will be probated. Anger management. No unsupervised contact. Well, no. There should be no contact with minors. Doesn't matter if it's your own biological child or not, you're not to have any contact with minor children until further notice. 100 hours of community service restitution. I'll deduct 40 hours if you provide proof that you've had your COVID vaccine. I'm not forcing anyone to get the vaccine, but if you obtain the vaccine, 40 hours will be deducted. There's to be no contact with Pauline Salazar, Paul Martinez, Andrew Aguilar, Xavier Salazar, Emily Cedillo, CPS compliance if applicable, parenting classes.
CPS is already.
Well, I'm wondering if they'll be back in the picture once she gives birth. So,
okay, I get
just
you.
in case. Parenting classes with Compadre, Compadre. Proof of employment within 30 days. No employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Field visits random 3 times per month. Are you able to Zoom, Mr. Cedillo?
Yes, ma'am.
There's going to be regular Zoom reporting. If something happens, then you are to report in person. If you're drug tested today, what are the results?
Negative.
I'm going to want a UA today
Yes, ma'am.
by 3 p.m. If it's negative, then there'll be regular UAs. If positive, then I'm going to want the UA hotline. Rebecca, is there anything else Mr. Cedillo needs?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Cedillo, is there anything else you need from this court in order to be successful?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I believe at this point, I'd like to ask the court, considering the fact that his wife, Your Honor, you're not allowing him to contact his wife, Judge?
No. Here's the thing, Mr. Cedillo. Let me tell you why you're not contacting your wife. Your wife cannot be trusted to protect these children when you are in their life. And it appears to me from reading the report that both you and your wife were abusive to children. So maybe the reason why there's anger and children are being abused is because we have 2 adults who are abusing children and neither one of them is protecting child. So I can't I can't depend on her to be protective, and I certainly can't depend on you to be protective. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're
Your
not to
Honor.
have any contact until further notice.
Right, so we can reapproach the court at some point in time based on performance, Your Honor.
Yes. And there's to be no contact with Ms. Salazar either. So there's to be no doctor's appointments for you, no prenatal appointments. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else you need from me in order to be successful in this probation?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically, sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sadeo, good luck to you. I'm going to send you to a breakout room. Probation will go over conditions with you.
Judge, I'm in the office, so he can come to the back.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Simpson, for zooming in.
Thank you.
All right. All right, do we have an update on Daniel De La Garza's case? All right, everyone, Jess. Robert Garcia, who are you here for? You're on mute.
I was gonna call my attorney right now and talk to him about the case.
All right, thank you.
We're still
Oh,
undecided.
no. Don't tell me about your case without your attorney being present, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank
So
you.
I'm gonna call him, so I'm gonna just pull my thing down. Is that fine?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine. Hi, Anthony Zamora. You're welcome. Anthony Zamora, we were just going to recall your case for tomorrow because Norma informed me that you were moving offices.
Yes, ma'am. Kadir might be logged on right now, Judge. If you're able, if Norma's able to see if he's on there,
No,
we
he's
could do it
not.
now, or I can do. Okay, I just texted him, Judge. Just tell me what you want me to do, and I can. I'm moving offices today and tomorrow.
Well,
but
if you have him on, because it's just for us to put the trial date on the record.
Okay. I just texted him not even 3 minutes ago, so he should be there. If you want me to wait, I can wait.
All right, if you can wait, because he
See if
hasn't
loads.
logged on yet.
Okay, I'll sit tight, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Garcia, Robert Garcia.
Yes, ma'am.
Is your attorney Daniel De La Garza?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to send you to a breakout room so that the clerks can swear you in. I'm going to send you to breakout room number 2.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to. Oops. All right, Anthony Zamora, your client is here.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I'm Mr. Judge.
Hi, just give me one moment.
Sure.
Anthony Zamora. Norma, what trial date did you give him?
I'm sorry, he's telling me.
That's okay, you're on mute.
I am going to work to,
Time out.
logging, yeah.
Time out, Mr. Kinnear. Yes, what date, Norma?
Yes.
January 12th.
January 12th.
All right, is there a prosecutor available?
It was Mr. Garza or Garcia that I spoke with, or that we all spoke with in that breakout room.
There's no Garza Garcia here.
Pretty sure it was a
Garcia.
G, Judge.
Okay, it was Joe Ray.
Yeah, there he goes. There you go.
All right, so we're gonna go on the record briefly for this hearing. Court is calling 2018 CR 9130, State of Texas versus Kadir Gunner. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Joe Ray Garcia.
For the defense?
Anthony Zamora for Kadir Gunner.
All right, and are you Mr. Gunner?
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objections from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any objections from the defense?
No, Judge.
Mr. Gunner, do you have any objections to us proceeding by video?
No, ma'am.
All right, for the record, the defense attorney's video is unavailable. Any objections to us proceeding without the defense attorney's video functioning? State?
No objections.
Mr. Gunner, do you have any objections?
No, ma'am.
All right. Defense, have you received all the discovery in this case?
Judge, I believe I have. I believe it's been ongoing.
All right, the court does not have an acknowledgement of discovery in the court's file. The acknowledgement of discovery will be due. Just one moment. Will be due October 29th. Is that enough time, State?
Yes, Judge.
All right, State, has an offer been tendered?
Yes.
Mr. Zamora, has that offer been tendered to your client?
Yes, it has, Judge.
Mr. Gunner, are you rejecting the state's offer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Gunner, your plea deadline date has expired. The court will not accept any plea bargaining agreements after today. If you decide to enter into a plea, it will have to be open to the court. My understanding is all parties had a chance to confer on a jury trial date. Your jury trial date will be January 12th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in the 187 District Court. Courtroom is
I'm sorry you
located.
broke up.
Yes. Your jury trial date will be January 12th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in the 187th District Court. The court is located at 300 De La Rosa on the 4th floor. Mr. Gunner, at that time, you will need to be dressed for trial and arrive at court at 9 a.m. Any
Yes, ma'am.
objections to January 12th as a jury trial date? State?
None, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. I thought that was a tentative date so that we could get a date certain in the future.
No, that's the jury trial date. If that changes, then we will have another date for you. That's the tentative jury trial date. So any objections to that as a jury trial date?
Judge, there's no objections. I would just request with the court, if there's a possible February date, it would work better for everything that's going on in my life between the December and January date.
All right. Any objections to that as a jury trial date, Mr. Gunner?
No, ma'am.
All right, then Mr. Gunner, you need to appear in the 187th on January 12th, 2022 at 9 a.m. If jurors are still suspended, of course, your attorney will be notified and you will not have to appear on that date. And if the court is not given that date in the system as a jury trial date, of course, you and your attorney will be informed. Do you understand?
Understand, ma'am.
All right, then you and your attorney are excused. Is there anything else, Mr. Zamora?
No, Judge, thank you. You cleared everything up for me. I think Mr. Kadir understood. I was a little confused. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. You're welcome. You both are excused. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a nice day, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, the attorneys here on Robert Garcia or on John Matthew Pacina.
I am, Your Honor, for Mr. Pacina.
All right, we'll proceed with Mr. Pacina. Who is the prosecutor on John Matthew Pacina?
I am, Judge.
Court is calling 2019 CR 13936, State of Texas versus John Matthew Pacina. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Meredith McIntyre for the state.
for the defense?
Alfonso Cabañas for Mr. John Pacina.
And are you Mr. Pacina? You need to unmute, hold down the space bar on the computer.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection from the defense?
None from defense.
Mr. Pacina, I'm showing you what's entitled defendant's consent to appear by video conference. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video conference. Next, I'm going to show you what's entitled motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same John Matthew Pacina who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2019 CR 13936 for the offense of robbery on February 21st, 2020 for a period of 8 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
State? Oh, I'm sorry. Just one more. I'm also showing you state's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Did you also review that document with your attorney and understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, state?
In Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, John Matthew Pacina, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of September 2020 and October 2020 in violation of condition number 5.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
State
will waive the remaining violations.
Any objections to the state's waivers?
None from defense, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Mr. Pacina, did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 5, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 5?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find violation of condition number 5 true. Is there an agreement?
There is, Your Honor. We're asking the court to grant the motion, adjudicate his guilt, revoke his community supervision, and sentence him to 4 years.
Is that the agreement?
That is the agreement, Your Honor.
Mr. Pacina, are you asking the court to follow that agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Pacina, why didn't you show up to report?
As soon as I came out, I went back to my, hanging around with my old crowd, my old friends. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Pacina, you're gonna have to do better. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the court will follow your agreement, find you guilty, and sentence you to 4 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Pacina, how old are you?
20 years old.
All right, and I saw that I ordered you to do compadre parenting classes. So that means you have a child or either you're around children.
I do have a child.
And how old is your child?
He's 4 right now, going to turn 5 in December.
All right, so Mr. Pacina, you need to start doing better for him because he wants a father that he can look up to. And I'm sure he wants a father that he can spend time with, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you're not going to be the type of father that he needs, then don't come in and out of his life because that hurts children when you do that.
Yes, ma'am. I understand that.
All right, and there's still, when you get out of prison, there's still classes that you can take, right? So if you need parenting classes, you can still get them. They're free. If you go to Compadre, they'll help you get classes and help you get your life in order. You understand?
Okay, I see it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Pacino.
Thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
what do I hit?
Norma, you can let them know that 14O can go back.
Yes, ma'am. Judge, can you put Rochelle back with her client? They had to move him to a different computer because he was having difficulty with the computer he was at.
All right, I'll send you to number 1.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you. Is the party here on Robert Garcia? Rebecca, I know you were probably in the breakout room on Placina. There was a plea to 5 true. And then 4 years TDC.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Judge, who's the defendant in the courtroom?
All right, let me see. All right, who's the defendant in the courtroom, please?
PDS, Judge.
It's Pete Diaz.
That's Bobby's. Let me contact Bobby.
All right, and Norma, could you also contact Della Garza because we have his paperwork ready?
Yes, ma'am.
And Norma, on Pete Diaz, just let Bobby know that's going to be at 2 p.m. because it's already 12.
Okay.
Mr. Diaz, can you come forward for me, please? Mr. Diaz, we're going to have you come back at 2 p.m., okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we'll see you back in the same courtroom at 2 p.m. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. All right, Ms. Acevedo, you're back.
Yes, Judge. And on Dominic, I don't know, is Marissa on?
Marissa or Meredith?
Marissa.
Okay, who's Marissa?
She's the intake attorney, judge in family violence, but she probably has to talk to either Joe Ray or David,
Okay,
because they'll probably
All
have
right.
Ms. JD.
all right, so it'll be Joe Ray or David Martin. If there's a family violence prosecutor, if you can go to breakout room number 2, please.
Judge, I just sent you a chat.
All right, thank you.
Judge, I'm going to send you a chat as well. I just sent you a chat too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Garcia, all of your paperwork is complete, but we're going to have you come back at 2 p.m. It's already 12:11. So if you zoom back into the same link at 2 p.m., your attorney will be here at that time and we'll take up your matter.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, do you need to go back, speak with your client, Ms. Acevedo?
No, Judge, can we recall it for like a week?
All right, if you can go back to the breakout room number 1 and have your client come out of the breakout room.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And Norma, on Mr. Hernandez, can we get a reset date for 1 week, please? And to the clerks, if I could have the file on Hernandez, please. All right, thank you. It's Dominique Hernandez. All right, thank you.
Judge, it's still awaiting indictment.
All right, thanks. Well, that would be the reason I wouldn't have the file. Mr. Dominique Hernandez, we're going to bring you back on October 6th. Ms. Acevedo, this court doesn't have pre-indictment settings. So just make sure you get with the court coordinator and we'll have it on the docket for October 6th. Is that a good date for you?
Yes, Judge, that should work.
All right, we will see you then. Norma, can you let them know that 17B can go back, please?
Yes, ma'am.
May I be excused?
Yes, thank you. And Norma, we're going to go ahead and take our break.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So everyone, we will be back at 2 p.m. And I will stop the Zoom.